There, it might be starting. Let's hope. Hello, precious people. I'm Jacqueline Parks. Welcome to my channel. Today is Thunder and Lightning, so we'll see how long we can keep this connection. But I really wanted to show you guys this really cool medium called water mixable or water soluble oil paint, which I've been really wanting to try. And so today, that's what we're going to be doing if the weather doesn't disrupt all this. So let me see. I'm gonna do them overhead so you can see what I see. All right, so this is stuff I've been doing. This was my daughter's palette. This was my palette yesterday or day before yesterday. We were playing with these and just having some fun. Do them overhead so you can Oops, see what let me. All right, so let me do something here. All right. I had to turn that off for a sec just because my phone was loud and I want to see if it's playing or not. So you can hear me. That's good news. So let me just go over what the product is because maybe you haven't heard of it. So this is Winsor & Newton water mixable oil colors. I bought them at Michael's, used a coupon. So they were $29.99, I guess, and I got them for whatever 20% off is. And it comes with the 12 colors, white, black, lemon yellow, cadmium orange, cadmium red, magenta, French ultramarine, cerulean blue, phthalo green, and burnt sienna. Well, the black is lamp black, if you want to know. I would probably prefer to have a Payne's gray, but this is a fairly inexpensive set, and I bet I can buy individual tubes at some point if I decided I like this. I've been using a ton of the white. I would probably want to get a giant tube of white just because I need to use more of that. But this was the black, burnt sienna, and if you mix burnt sienna and ultramarine, you will get close to Payne's gray. So these two I've been playing with mixing up. And I also purchased a set of brushes just to use with these because I don't want to use my fabulous, amazing, expensive watercolor brushes because that would mess up the tips. Also, this is a firmer brush, which you need for oil, which is super soft and bendy. So definitely need to keep those separate. This is kind of somewhere in between the two. I forget. I did a video about these brushes. The reason I bought the set was for this one, which is a cat's tongue shape, which I don't really use that much. I like rounded brushes the most. But it seems funny with these water soluble oil paints. I've been using this large flat brush. So let's see what I've created already. Let me go grab them. So this was the very first painting I did, and I can try and zoom in so you can see it better. So yeah, check that out. I followed a tutorial online. It was for water soluble oil paints, and he painted a Florida seascape, which I live near the Florida Panhandle, and this is basically what you see when you go down the beach. So kind of pretty. I enjoyed painting this one. It was very good. I ended up trying to paint it again from memory without following the tutorial. Did not turn out as nice. but I probably didn't spend as much time on it as I did this one. And so then, after I did this one, look at this one. So my daughter says this is her favorite one. Hopefully there's no shine on there. That's the thing about oil paints, and they take forever to dry. Like I am still, these are 2 days old, still a little bit of wet. Oops. My daughter's is still kind of wet too, and I'm gonna have to get a paper towel. Now this one, so this was her favorite. She really liked of mine, and I'm gonna put that over here. Hopefully this one seems pretty dry. I really like this one. And I did see a image online that I was copying. So it had like the lights from the sun coming through the clouds, and it was just really pretty. So I liked that one. Now this one, y'all be very impressed because my daughter did it. And it's still really wet, so we cannot touch it. But she wanted to paint. See, like, look at all the paint on my hand, y'all. I need a paper towel. So she definitely did amazing. She did this from memory because she was trying to watch or look at the image of Monet's water lilies and just was getting overwhelmed by it. So she said, I'm going to just do it from memory. And I guess she does that better than looking at an image. I can't do stuff from memory too good. I have to look at a source for painting. But I do love how this turned out. And it is really still wet, a lot of wetness. I don't know if I can dry that with a heat tool or not, but I am thinking that this is going to be on the wall in my bedroom because it's gorgeous and I want to be able to see it when I wake up and go to sleep. So I'm going to put it over here though for now because I don't want to get paint on it. I'm going to put this over here. Oh. One more painting I want to show you. So this one I really liked. And I painted this one off of a Emily Howard painting, and I think hers are done with acrylic. I'm not sure. But I follow her on Instagram. She also does a lot of little videos of like pep talks and just kind of encouraging artists. And I really like how she talks about mental health and things like that. But this was based on one of her paintings. And I don't think it's at all, it's similar, but it's just not the same. But I really liked how it turned out, and so I may end up framing this one. I like it. I don't know, should I try and sell some of these to y'all? I don't know. My daughter says this is her favorite, so she wants this one. A lot of stuff happening. Let me put this one away. And let me show you what I did this morning. So it's still wet because I just started it. But I follow this guy. I guess I just found him on the internet. So pretty cool. He does a lot of abstract crosses. And let me see if I can show you like his home screen. Let me show you. So like look at his crosses. And they're full of texture and really thick, and I love how they turned out. And the colors, everything. So I'm thinking maybe I want to try that. So here's, something I started. And I know it's hard with the glare sometimes to see what I'm doing. But I really liked I like this because I can carve into the paints. Kind of like mixed media. I like doing that. It's pretty cool. Did a little mark making, and that's something that artists tend to do, and you can recognize their artwork based on their mark making. So this one I did start this morning, still really wet. So that means if I tried to paint over the top of this, it would blend with the colors underneath, which they say is kind of like what happens with watercolor, is that all the layers will still blend together and they won't be, you can't just layer on top like acrylic paints do. So I don't know, I'm thinking that that's kind of a cool concept. And so I wanted to start something with you guys. So let me get a fresh canvas. Where did I put that? You know, I thought it was right here, and now I cannot find it. Oh wait, here it is. Okay. So here's a blank canvas. And I got these at Walmart. They're like a 6-pack. They're not expensive at all. You guys hear that rolling thunder? Woo, scary. Rolling thunder. Alright, so something that I've seen done in other videos where people are painting is they get the water and they get their palette with the paint. And I don't know, do you guys want to see the paint as I mix it? Should I zoom out? Or should I leave it like zoomed in? I'm not sure what you guys want. What I can do is I'll show you how I'm mixing it right here. So I'm just looking at what's already on this palette. See this white in here? And I'll tell you what, this paint on here is a couple days old. So when you first squeeze it out, it's much better. So, and that's just white. But I'm going to take some burnt sienna and just spread it on there so you can see what I'm doing. Let's see. So mixing it with water, and see how it's kind of got that watercolor look to it, because I added a lot of water to it. And so that's kind of cool. I like how that's really fun. So I got that. Now the thing about this is that you can take a paper towel and dab just like you would a watercolor. And you can remove things. Got like a hair in there. But another thing with oil paints is a lot of artists do an under painting. So that's something if you want to get into doing this. Like if you want a blue sky, you would start with this color. And it makes like an under color. Now, the thing about this is that you would have to wait for it to dry, which might take forever. Hey Christy, how's it going? Is it storming where you are, girl? I know you're up there. I haven't checked the whole state, but down here, woo, by the Gulf, we are experiencing flood warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings, all kinds of warnings down here. We had probably some, I hope we don't get tornado warnings. So far I'm not seeing one, but I'm looking it up right now. And it's just my internet is spotty. Hopefully y'all can still see me. I'll wave my hand in there. But like, look at that, y'all. Look at all that. So it might be hitting you. No, it may or may not hit you. I don't know, Christy. But definitely. Hey, Susie Q. Good morning. I missed you last week. I didn't see you texting or commenting. But good for you to join. Hey, and I wanted to show you. Let me see if you can see. Now it's gotten dirty again, my counter. Because, you can't keep things clean forever. But that's just like a bunch of canvases that I bought. And I have like a little bin of them. And so I just try, different techniques on canvas with different mediums, acrylic, mixed media, stuff like that. So, and today we're using water soluble. Oh, you were sick with lots of coughing. Ugh, I hate that. I had the flu 3 or 4 weeks ago, I think. Maybe it was last month. I can't remember now when it was, but I was out. Down and out for like a whole week. It was not good. Okay, so now we got this orangish sky. And the thing with the water mixable is you want to keep some 2 bins of water. Let me just zoom out so y'all can see what I'm doing. Because I think it'd be easier for y'all to see if you can see what I'm doing. So I got some water there. This is actually soapy water that I might keep handy. So let me see. I might put my palette onto the side here. Ooh, do not look at that. I get ink or paint, I should say, on it because it is very wet and does not dry quickly at all. Christy is saying weather is good here, just a little rain. Okay, well we're in gonna have stage something flooding. We're gonna have bad flooding. Bad. And it's already coming down. There's another little one I did. I like these little canvases, so I got a bunch from Walmart. They come 3 for $1. It's 3 for $1. So if I mess this up and I don't like my painting, it's not gonna break the bank. And that's something too. I think a lot of artists worry about wasting money on not doing a good job painting. But the truth is, you don't learn unless you start painting, and sometimes we make mistakes when we paint. Sometimes we're just not doing what we want it to do. So let me see what happens if I put some of this purpley color. And maybe make some purple mountains. So I'm just going to do it real thin. Thin it out. And see, this paint has been out for a while. I probably should squeeze some new paint. But for now, I'm just going to do this. And I don't know. It could be Colorado mountains. Could be anywhere. Could be mountains anywhere, right? But I don't know. Am I going to switch mediums and not be a watercolor artist? I don't think so. I really love the ease of watercolor. I love how fast watercolor, I love how fast it dries. I love so much about watercolor. I love that it doesn't take up a lot of space. So I end up, I can stack them, and they don't take up too much room in my office, in my craft room. So there, I just put some purple, and then drying it off with a paper towel. And see, it's kind of sticky on there. So if I use my soapy water, I can get it off better. I don't know if you can see that. But, so that's the beginnings of something there. I I may end up doing, let's see, do I want to try and do the sky kind of a bluish color now? Do I need to dry that first? That's one of those things where layers will mix with layers. And so an painting, but you know what? It dries super fast. That is pretty dry when you use a lot of water to mix it. So let's try mixing my blues now. So this was already on here. This is a ultramarine blue. And then this over here is also, oops, I did not want to mix with the the other stuff. So yeah, and you can mix it with water. So now I will go in. I may want to just add some more blue on here because I feel like having this older paint is not showing you guys the true beauty of it. So let me just add a little extra fresh paint and see what happens. So now I'm going to mix my blue and white together. See, it's so much more buttery. This other stuff that's old, it's still wet, but it's not the best. So I would definitely be using fresh paint every time you paint. Don't be cheap like me. But if you guys have any questions about this, let me know in the comments, because I'm like, I'm not sure if this is something I'm going to stick with or if I'm going to just keep it as a fun thing to try once in a while. I also enjoyed doing some mixed media recently, so that might be something that I incorporate with my mixed media. But I do have so many canvases that in order to create watercolors on, I would have to prep them with the gesso modeling paste mixture I made and do layers of that, and then that would become the base for a watercolor. And then when I paint with it, it still is not a particularly the same as when I paint on paper, and I just enjoy painting on paper so much better. So look at how pretty that orange is mixing with it, and even though it was somewhat dry, I think it is showing through. There's a lot of transparency with this, just like watercolor. And I'm not sure if that's the same with regular oil paint or if this is just something that, is unique with this water soluble. I don't know. And another thing is I like painting with my paper on the table flat, and so I'm not used to having something up on an easel, which would probably be better for this, but I'm having to do this. So, and there's some white. Let's see what happens when we add the white. But see, I'm liking this flat brush for some reason with this. I'm just enjoying that. And see, the less water you use with it, the longer it will take to dry. But you can go really thick with it. And it's just kind of fun. I just love doing this. It just feels enjoyable. And if you're painting and you're not having fun, then maybe you need to switch mediums, because sometimes it's the medium. And I'll be honest, the first time I tried watercolor, I did not like it. I think if you've followed me, you've heard my story where I took it in my 20s and it was so horrible I blocked it out. Like I forgot all about it and ended up just not remembering anything about it. So, but what I found in 2020 was learning off of YouTube was much more enjoyable. I found, a fabulous artist, Paul Clark, who has a wonderful YouTube channel, and his love for watercolor just resonated with me. And so, I had to paint a mermaid for my sister. That was a watercolor reference photo, and so I was like, I have to do it with watercolor. And so my daughter at the time had a set of watercolor paints. So I was like, let's try hers. They were like cheap little $10 set from Hobby Lobby. And that's actually what I encourage people to start with. Because you never know. What if it's not something you enjoy doing? So you don't want to spend $100 on art supplies and then decide you don't like it. So for me, I was like, $10, I'll just try it. I think you could even try Crayola if you really wanted to. Susie says, you make it water soluble by adding water to your leftover oil paint. Yeah, it's still wet. Like the oil paint does not dry fast at all. So this was a couple days ago, and I just added some water and remixed it. I think if it was completely dry, it might not be able to be remixable. I don't know. But I had heard that water soluble oil paint is a lot like watercolor. So for me, I wanted to try it out because that's the medium I really enjoy. But I wanted to be able to paint on a canvas without prepping it. So we'll see. Like some of my paintings from 2 days ago are still kind of wet because we use thick paint. And it might take, sometimes oil paintings take a long time. So sometimes they take a week, a month. You'll hear some artists talk about their paintings take 6 months to dry. And that just sounds crazy to me to wait that long. So I love watercolor. I'm not going to leave watercolor. I just want to have fun though. I think we need to always be having fun. And for me, I wanted to try this and see how it compares to the watercolor. So I am just kind of playing today and this weekend. So it was really fun. I had a good Mother's Day. I hope y'all did. My daughters went with me to church, which was really nice. That's like the highlight of my weekend. And so, I don't know. We did go out to lunch, my one daughter. My other daughter had to work. But that's okay. So now I'm just kind of playing right here. I'm just doing this. And see, I'm going to mix it down into this purple mountains and see if that's picking up some of that purple. It might be. And see, I'm still painting really thin with this, okay? And that's kind of how you have to paint. I think with the water or with the water soluble oils, I think if you were to use regular oils, I don't know if you have to use a lot of linseed oil or some other kind of media to get it to flow and not be so thick. But I don't know. I'm just having fun with this. This is really therapeutic too. I'll feel very just not stressed out at all when I do this because it's just kind of plain. Now you might be like, oh, but what if it's not perfect? That's what I use $1 canvas for, and these paints were $30 for all of them, and really not a big deal. I'm enjoying it. So I'm going to mix a little bit more just pure white in here and see how that looks to kind of make these clouds. And see, I just like how it blends. You can blend forever with oil paint, and that's the reason why a lot of people pick oil paint over acrylic, because with acrylic it would dry and you cannot blend once it's dry. But oil paint takes forever to dry, so you can keep blending and it just looks so smooth and buttery. That's what I say anyways. It's like smooth and buttery. But you can still kind of see the orange coming through with that underpainting. So if you really get into doing oil paintings, you might want to do that. I have seen watercolor artists do that underpainting too, which to me is very interesting. So see, I like how the clouds are looking. I don't know if you guys are getting that sheen on there. I don't know. It's a little shiny, but so now if I want to, I'm going to change colors. So I'm going to rinse, and just like with watercolors, I like to have 2 containers. But now with this oil painting, if it's still coming off, I have this little bit of soapy water, just Dawn and water. That's it. And that just kind of helps clean your brush. Always clean them really good when you're done, because if any of the paint dries on there, it will ruin your brush. And these paint brushes are for mixed media. It came in a set of 4, and I like them. I like the colors too, but I like how they feel in my hand. I like their brush bristles, everything on them. It's pretty cool. All right, so now I've got this going on. I may need to do some red to make a purple, because that purple is kind of too dry, y'all. Even though it's still wet, I think it's just taking too much time, or it's taking a little bit of it's getting clumps, so I don't think I want to continue using it. So I'm just going to take some of that blue and mix with some red, because that's how we mix purple. And if I want, I'll take a little bit of white. There we go. Remix purple. So now I might do some mountains. How many of you grew up watching Bob Ross? Like, that was like my favorite thing on Saturdays, watching Bob Ross paint. And it was just, I didn't paint along with him. I just liked watching him paint. That's what I enjoyed. And so yeah, that was one of the things that was a highlight of mine. So I don't even have a reference photo, which is probably going to make this not look that great, because I need reference photos, y'all. Let's see, I just added a little bit of water to this, and see how it thinned it out so much. But that's pretty cool, I think. Kind of looking like a mountain. And a lot of people use palette knives to get a lot of layers. And that might be kind of something you want to explore. I do have some palette knives. Again, with thicker paint, it will take longer it will just take a lot longer to dry. So the more water in it, the less time it will take to dry. But that's turning out really pretty, I think. I also watched this guy paint with Josh. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he does, I'm pretty sure it's oil painting. So if you want to get into doing oil painting, I wonder if you could use this and follow along with his tutorials. Let's see, how cool is that? I just really like it. And you can make some white caps on them mountains. And let's see what else we got going up here. So just making up my own landscape right now. But it's kind of fun. Kind of having fun with it. But I just want to blend that in. But sometimes those brush strokes are really pretty. So you may not want to blend in all your brush strokes. You may want to just leave it like that. But that's kind of looking pretty. So Susie's saying as a teenager, yeah, you watched Bob Ross. So I might be a little older than you because I was really young. I was like, I don't know, 7. 7, 8, 9, something like that. So yeah, that's all I'm doing here. I may end up doing a little bit more red in the purple just to make it darker in here. And just making a little valley. I don't know what that is. But again, you can add more paint and make it thick, or more water and thin it out. So that's something that's kind of cool. I like it so far. But I have a feeling that's going to take a while to dry. So I may end up putting that to the side. Now this piece I did, I think this little square I did yesterday. Sorry. And I think if I touch the sky, I used a lot of water on the sky, so it's dry. But if I touch the yellow, you can see the yellow came off. If I touch this part, it's kind of, I don't know, it might still be a little wet. So do I want to do something with this? Because you can just kind of go over this and make it whatever. You don't have to keep it whatever you did. You can get real fun and just keep playing. Maybe I want the sky a little more blue. And that's the thing though, I gotta hold it because I don't have an easel that holds it for me. But that's okay. I might, I saw one easel that was a tabletop easel that was really, it was small, but it didn't have a way to clamp it. And I think that's the important part. You need to clamp. But see, look at how that's just blending. I can keep blending. This was from the other day. And it's just crazy how you can keep blending. That's what I think is so cool about this. And you can add that purple in there and make like a purple cloud underneath. Just keep blending it. And see, those yellows are still wet. And if I want to, I can switch brushes. And I can mix a different color green and just make it real watery. And look at how it reactivates underneath. So it does make it, so if you made a mistake, kind of like watercolor, you can go back in. And you can just like clean it up and be like, you know what, that's not what I wanted. So lift, you can lift all that and do that. And so Susie said, wow, I think this would be an easier and fun way to start exploring oil painting. Yes, because you're not dealing with the linseed oil and toxic fumes. Although there are more fumes on this, I can smell it when I walk in my office rather than watercolors. Watercolors, I don't smell anything, but oil paints, they do have a smell. And yeah, especially small canvases, like they're just so much fun. And like what I can do with these is I can stick a magnet on the back and they can become a fridge magnet. And I can sell these at craft shows. They would be super fun to sell, I think. And like more affordable. And it's funny because I have my artwork down in a gallery in Foley, and she was saying how a lot of the prints are selling. So like people are buying artwork that's like under $40. And so my stuff is all like 80, 90, and I even have $1,000 painting in there. So she said, even though there is probably a market for original art, she's thinking that prints might sell. And I do have a couple prints. I need to find a good printer. I don't know where y'all get prints made, but I'll be honest, I feel like I don't have that great experience with creating prints. So let's see. I'm just going to mix these up and make some trees. Like a happy little tree. I don't know, is that what Bob said? Happy little tree. And then I think to make that darker green, and I do have some on here, but we can mix a little bit of the blue and make a darker color in there. And then maybe, do we want to add a little bit of burnt sienna and see what color we make? Sometimes we can make a nice dark color and see what happens. But yeah, that's, something you can do. You can mix some yellow and white into your green and make more of a meadow. Mix that darker green in again, and I don't know, see, I'm just adding this light color. I almost feel like this could be like a Van Gogh. It's like so messy with a bunch of little things in there. But see, he did a majority of his paintings in oil. So that's one of the things I think that a lot of art collectors are looking for, oil paintings. But I do know Van Gogh did a couple, probably more than a couple, watercolors. In fact, I was going to do a whole video about it. let's see, what color is that? Sometimes I mix something and it's a little bit muddy. That's okay. It's kind of fun. And see, I like how that's looking. And I could even go in there and make more of a white clouds maybe. And that's always kind of fun to go in. And see how it's blending with that blue? I like it. I know you guys probably can't see this as good as I can, but if you zoom in, you can really see things a lot better. So you might just go back over into there. And then if I want, I can get some more white, rinse, because it's kind of blending. Some of that white. That's got some pink in there. I don't like pink. Here's some white. I'll just use this. And see, I'm putting it in there with some water, and it's just kind of flowing. It's really kind of pretty. I like it. It's fun. Super fun. And that's what I think. We should always be having fun. Chrissy says, I love the water-soluble oil paints. That's my favorite. And I know you kind of told me about them. So I was really curious to give it a try. And you definitely need to share some of your paintings, Christy, on Instagram or somewhere. I don't know. I would love it. I would follow you and support you. I think we all need to have that. We need a support system to help each other, to be encouraged. All right, I'm moving things over there. All right, so now I feel like this is all mute, kind of one. I mean, the sky is more blue than the clouds, but I think my greens are just way too much the same. If I was going to be trying to make more of a pretty painting, I would want to have more contrast in there. And so to make more contrast, we need to mix complementary colors. So like blue and burnt sienna will give me that nice kind of almost Payne's gray. And so if I start now, I will get some contrast in there. And you may want to do that darker color before and then go in with the light color. But it doesn't really matter. Once you get it in there, you can always go back over it. So now I'm getting a little bit more contrast in there. But yeah, I guess, I don't know, maybe I hope someday that I can have a place, like an art studio, where I can invite people just to come and hang out and make art together. I think that would be so much fun. See, I'm just going to add a darker, I don't even know where the sunlight's coming from, because I don't have a reference photo on this, so it's kind of sad. It's a sad thing, no reference. I might go back now and do some of that green. If I like it. Add some yellow. And I do have a smaller brush I could use. I just kind of get into kicks where I use the same brush and just keep going. Keep going with it. So yeah, I've only watched a few videos on how to use this paint and just exploring it with my own ability and seeing if I like it. It is fun. And like the more I play with one, then like I want to start another one. Like that's why I'm glad I bought like 30 canvases, and they're all little, but I really have like really enjoyed painting them. So then like that needs to like dry so I don't put anything else on it. But what do you think? It's kind of cute. I also was curious how it would be on paper. So like this is paper I've painted with acrylic. And what would happen if I start painting on this paper? Because I don't know. Would it look interesting? Would it become something I could tear and use in my mixed media? There is a little pattern under there, a plaid. But maybe that's what I want to start doing too for my mixed media pieces, is just kind of mix up and put some color on here, and then I can end up cutting it or tearing it and putting it on a canvas and then painting over it again, because that's what we do with mixed media. We just create a bunch of layers, and it's super fun to do that. And like if you don't like wasting paint, this is a good idea too. So like all this paint on here, I was kind of like, oh, I don't want to waste it. So that's something you can do if you're into just enjoying painting and you don't want to stop painting. Just keep going. Get a piece of paper out and paint on it and see what happens. Might actually end up being, I could stamp on this. I could I don't know, I could put some gold foil. Did y'all see? I did some gold foil the other day on a painting. I thought that was really cool. But look at the pretty, I mean, it's just pretty. And you can let it drip. Like this is the kind of thing where the oil paint, you can just like mix a bunch of water and then you can just let it drip and see what happens. Make some drips. Now see, that's clumpy. I don't like that. But that was the older white paint that I had on here. But I like how it's dripping. It's kind of cool. And just kind of scribbling. Is that a word? So look at that. I mean, it's not anything yet, but it could become something. Susie's saying it's very cute. Oh, thank you about my little one. Yes. And so this is just kind of fun. I like this. I like how that looks. I may let that dry. I don't know if I want to add any other colors in there. Let's see, I'm just gonna rinse that out. Dry it on my paper towel. It's already getting really saturated. Maybe use my little glue or my soapy water and see if I can get more off of there. But that was another thing when I did oil painting in college. That was a pain to clean up. I did not like the cleanup. The cleanup was awful because you'd have like a jar of turpentine or some other harsh smelling stuff that you would clean your brushes in. And you can't dump it down the drain. That's bad for the environment. And I was just like, where do I take all this stuff when I'm done with it? So I was kind of like, I don't know if I like oil painting. Acrylic was much better. Again, though, you can't blend once it starts to dry. Like this would be too dry to blend with, acrylic. But I do kind of like how this water soluble oil is. It's kind of cool. Kind of like it. It's kind of fun. What time is it? Almost 11. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So, did I show you guys? Let me show you guys something. So let me put this palette over here. I don't think I showed this yet. But this is the one I did this morning. And I scratched Acts 2:42. So, a lot of times when I wake up in the middle of the night and I look at the clock and whatever time it is, that's what I will look up scripture. So it was like 2:42 when I woke up in the middle of the night. I don't know why. Sometimes just getting a lot of just tossing and turning. I don't know. It's hard sometimes getting a comfortable position. But so for this, I wanted to do Acts 2:42, and I did scratch it out into the paint. But I wanted to write it out. Let me see if I can look it up again. I may not have saved the page. I may have to look it up again. But a lot of times you guys know that I just look up scripture based on the time. So I just type in the word scripture, and then I say 2 and then 42 and see what it says. Now this one is saying Acts 2:42, which I did think that would be a good one. And a lot of people like the King James Version. I like ESV. That's like the one I tend to go to. But if you look up Acts 2:42, and I have been talking about God lately and just being encouraged by other believers, and it's just been fun to hear their ideas on when the rapture will take place and when different different signs and wonders happen, that if that's pointing to it. So for me, I've really been encouraged. And so when I looked this up, I was very encouraged by it. And it says, and they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to the fellowship, to the breaking of bread and the prayers. And that to me just was very encouraging. So I kind of want to have this art piece reflect that. And here is a pencil, and I don't know, it may just end up scraping instead of, and I do like my handwriting sometimes. But, and I don't know if I need it to be super readable or if I just want it to be like they can look it up. And they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching. And you didn't know how to spell it if you're going to do something like this. Either that or I'll just go back over it with like this brush, clean it up again, and write it again. And see, I feel like with watercolor, you can't do that. Like once you start making a mark with your pencil, you've already engraved the paper, so it's gonna be too hard to switch back. So the fellowship. So, going to church and reading your Bible and praying together, I just love it. Like my Bible study tonight, we decided we're going to meet again tonight, which last week was supposed to be the last week. But today we're gonna all bring something to share to eat and just fellowship. And so that's what I like about being in a Bible study, is that you fellowship with other believers and encourage one another. So see, I like that. I don't know if the pencil mark is good. I may end up, doing some more marks. And see, there's a lot of dry, but there's a lot of wet. And you can almost carve it into the paint. It's kind of cool. So I can't barely read that. I might go back in with like a black marker when it's completely dry. I don't know. I kind of liked how it looked when I had it scraped out with just the white showing underneath. And this part I didn't even do anything over here. But I might just end up I might do it more layers. I might go back over this and be like, you know what? I need to do more layers. So I might go in with, different colors and do something. I might end up covering all this and starting over and doing an extra layer. So I don't know. That's just one of those things where you just have fun. You see where it goes. And if you're like one of those people that's like, when is your painting done? And you worry about when is it done? I would say that's part of just kind of being an artist, is having fun. Like, I know one lady I was following on YouTube about the water mixable oil paints, and she said there was a point where she liked it and she should have stopped, but she didn't stop and she just kept going. And then she was like, I ruined it. But I don't know if that's ruining it, because you're learning so much from doing something like that. And for me, if I've felt like I've ruined something after I've, kept messing with it, and I should have left it before and I can't even get back to where it was, then I've learned something from that, from that experience. And I can always apply that to the next time. Oh, I'm getting a phone call. I do not want to accept the phone call. Sorry. Sorry, I do not want to accept the phone call right now. But I will call you back. So anyways, it's 11 o'clock and we didn't lose power. So that was really wonderful, because we had some severe thunderstorms come through just now. And, but I hope you enjoyed watching me play with a new medium for me, and seeing how it might be something you want to try. And it's very inexpensive, really, in the grand scheme of things. I just get those little canvases. No one says you have to paint large, huge paintings. If you're an artist, you don't have to. You can be a tiny painter, or a tiny, whatever, little things. And I think people like little things anyway, so it's kind of fun. And I hope you enjoyed today. I really enjoyed today, and I very much appreciate all of y'all joining me. And if you can, before you leave, give me a like and subscribe if you haven't. Leave a comment if you haven't. I think the algorithm just uses that to decide whether or not to push it to more people. So if you could do that for me, that would be great. And I love you all, and I pray for you, and I hope you have a blessed day.